I entered the horror game, but due to my severe nearsightedness, I couldn't see clearly. I treated the blood-dressed ghost lowly, like my own daughter, the big boss like my husband, and the old ghost like my parents. When we first met, I grabbed the big boss's abs and sighed, "Nice body, but you are a bit short." The boss laughed angrily, put his severed head back on his neck, and gritted his teeth. "I am 6'1". Take another look now." 0. Welcome to the House of Happiness mission. Players who survive for 7 days in this mission will pass. Initial players 30, currently alive. 30. We wish all players an enjoyable game. After dying in a car accident, a flash of white light passed, and I arrived in front of a large building. An eerie mechanical voice sounded in my ears. Because I am severely nearsighted, I can't distinguish between people and animals within 10 feet. I couldn't see what the building looked like clearly, nor could I make out the exact appearance of the people around me. I could only see vague human shapes. At this time, I heard a fragile schoolgirl crying, "Wow, where is this? I want to go home." A yellow-haired guy cursed angrily. "Who is messing with us? Let me go back." A relatively calm man and woman stepped forward. They introduced themselves as veteran players named Rachel and Jack, and kindly explained to us, this was an infinite horror game, and those pulled into this game were all dead people. If we could clear all the missions and accumulate the legendary 9,999 points, we could be resurrected. Hearing we could be resurrected, I hurriedly asked, "So how many points can you get for clearing one mission?" Rachel seemed a bit down and said softly, "It depends on your terror value when you clear it. If you clear with 99 terror, you'll only get 1 point. If you hit 100 terror, you die instantly." Terror value, as the name suggests, is the degree of fear. Veteran players familiar with the game can usually keep their terror below 60. As for new players, well, it is pretty rough. I rubbed my chin and asked again, "Then what if you clear with 0 terror? Can you get 100 points? As soon as I said this, unbeknownst to me, everything was being live-streamed. Countless comments mocked me. This newbie is so arrogant. Although the House of Happiness is only an S-rank mission and not the highest level, it is still never been cleared due to its insane difficulty. Didn't the famous player James from the top guild fail here last time? He made it to day 6 but still died in the end. We're screwed. This random matchmaking only has 2 veteran players, Rachel and Jack. The 2 of them together aren't as good as James. Looks like it'll be a team wipe again." Soon it was time for us to choose rooms. Rachel said that although no one had cleared this mission before, the players who died previously had figured out some tips. This building has 30 floors total, with 1 apartment per floor. Only 1 player can stay on each floor, and the House of Happiness is actually a role-playing horror mission. There are some ghosts living in each apartment, and they will play various close relationships with the players. So how could the terror value not fluctuate dramatically after living together for 7 days? Jack hurriedly interrupted Rachel and pulled her along to choose the first and second floors. Seeing the veteran players make this choice, some smart people quickly followed suit and chose the lower floors. Because of my poor eyesight, I couldn't run fast enough, so I had to wait for everyone else to choose. In the end, only the 30th floor was left for me. Taking advantage of the fact that I couldn't see, the comments were chattering again. "This newbie is dead for sure. Everyone knows the higher the floor, the higher level the boss. Especially the 30th floor, it is all big bosses, known as the House of Death." I reached the 30th floor and looked around, finding it not much different from reality. Just a bit more bloody smell, redder walls, lower temperature, darker lighting plus. This was a huge penthouse, with the family I've always dreamed of. You should know, in reality, I am not only a severely nearsighted, useless person, but also an orphan, and even more so, a poor dog. I walked to the door, unhesitatingly reached out my hand, knocked hard, and shouted, "Open up quick. Baby's home. I'll starve to death if you don't open." The comments were stunned. Is she purely seeking death? Which player doesn't politely knock or wait quietly at the door for the ghosts to be in a good mood to open up? I don't want to watch this brainless woman anymore. I am switching to another stream. I'll go watch Rachel. Keep watching. I want to see how she dies. Actually, they don't understand my thought process. Since it is role-playing and we're supposed to become a family with the ghosts, of course we should interact naturally. In real life, would you very politely say, "Hello? Is anyone there? Please help me open the door." After knocking, the door creaked open and a chill swept over my entire body. I sighed comfortably. This was simply a summer resort. No need for air conditioning even in summer. I looked down and saw a small red figure. Although my vision was always blurry, the 2 braids swinging back and forth suggested it was a child in a red dress. The child smiled eerily and suddenly pounced at me, her icy little hands gripping my neck. I hugged her in my arms, feeling her dress was wet, and immediately said disapprovingly, "How can a child wear wet clothes? Take them off quickly. I'll get you changed into dry clothes." My nose twitched, smelling a bloody scent, and I anxiously asked, "Are you hurt somewhere? Where is the first aid kit?" "I'll help you treat it," the comments bitterly complained. "Sister, open your dog eyes and look. This is one of the bosses of the House of Death. What she is wearing isn't a wet red dress. It is dyed red from killing and dismembering players. The bloody smell isn't because she is hurt. It is the player's blood on her dress. Never mind, when that person comes home, she is dead for sure." Unfortunately, I couldn't see these comments. I carried the child into the house while helping her take off the red dress. I found a new white dress in her exquisite princess room and put it on her. The child's little hands gripping my neck unconsciously loosened. Sensing her uncertainty, I took a warm towel, leaned in closer, and gently wiped the bloodstains off her face bit by bit. Only then did I see clearly that she was an adorable little loli. E smiled and pointed at my face, saying, "As family members, helping each other is what I should do. But shouldn't you give me a kiss to show your thanks?" The little loli shyly tugged at her white dress, quietly leaned into my face, and gave me a quick peck before quickly pulling away. Her voice was soft and sweet as she said, "Thank you, Mommy." "What, Mommy? I've become a painless mother. This is simply too awesome." "You should know, in reality, I've heard so many stories of women dying in childbirth. Although I long for a family, I am most afraid of giving birth." I had just coaxed the little loli to take an afternoon nap when I heard the mechanical voice announce, "Initial players, 30, currently alive 20. I didn't expect that. Just from choosing rooms, 10 players had already died. I opened my phone and held it close to my eyes, barely able to make out the text on the screen. It turned out everyone was exchanging information in the player group chat, like how other players died. Apparently, Brad and 3 other men had fought fiercely over the 3rd floor. In the end, Brad narrowly won and moved into the 3rd floor. As soon as Brad knocked on the door, a human-bodied dog-headed ghost walked out, opened its bloody maw, and swallowed Brad whole. It then chewed a few times and spat out some white bones with bits of flesh still attached. Through the half-open door, other players saw a large pile of bones inside. They guessed those were probably the remains of previous players. Witnessing this, basically all the new players' adrenaline spiked. No, except for Rachel and Jack. Everyone's terror value was at 50, and this was only the first day. There was also a middle-aged uncle whose terror value shot up to 100. The instant he walked through the 10th floor door, and he died directly. The other players died in various ways, either killed by ghosts or scared to death. Of course, none of this had anything to do with me. I stood up, and while the little loli was sleeping, diligently found a mop from the bathroom and cleaned the entire apartment. I scrubbed the red floor tiles until they turned white. I am really capable. The red stains on the walls that I couldn't clean off, I just scraped away with a chisel. By the time I finished, it was already afternoon. My back ached from the work, so I lay down on the sofa next to the little loli and fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up again, I was enveloped by an icy aura. The room was very dark, and a blurry black shadow stood in front of me. Although I couldn't see clearly, I was captivated by his voice from his very first sentence. He chuckled in a low, sexy voice. "Hey, interesting. You've actually survived this long with Sissy." Immediately after, the little loli Sissy's cold voice also sounded. "You'd better not touch her. This mommy is quite interesting. I want to keep her to play with." The man didn't respond to her. With a wave of his hand, the little loli named Sissy flew backwards off the sofa, crashed into the balcony glass with a loud bang, along with the sound of bones shattering. The man laughed coldly. "Who allowed you to talk to me like that? You really think you are my daughter?" I couldn't stand it anymore. I scrambled up from the sofa, muttering, "Who allowed you to talk to a child like that? What kind of father are you?" I meant to slap the man's face, but somehow my hand slipped and grabbed his abs instead. Tatsuki, the feeling was so good I couldn't help but feel them up a couple more times. Seeing the man on the verge of exploding with rage, his whole body emitting black energy, I hurriedly tried to salvage the situation. "Sissy is my little treasure. You are my big treasure. We're just a loving family. Actually, honey, your body is pretty nice, but why do you look a bit short?" "It is okay now that I am here. I'll cook delicious food for you every day. I guarantee both father and daughter will grow tall." The comments went crazy. God, what is she saying? How dare she say these things in front of the headless big boss? Finally, the headless big boss appears. He should be the strongest boss in the House of Happiness mission, right? James died at his hands back then. But why is the big boss's face suspiciously red? I am shipping it. Above, you are just hungry. The live stream audience was all waiting for the man to snap my neck. That was the fate of previous players.